In this video, we're going to be covering lead qualification and follow-up for realtors. If you're new here, my name is Jeff Adolphi. I'm a marketing consultant that helps realtors master paid ads. I do offer a one-on-one consulting service as well as done-for-you services, so if you're interested in those, then click the link down below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. In this presentation, we will be discussing lead qualification and follow-up. So what is lead qualification? First of all, there's three main components to lead qualification. So there's identifying prospective clients, separating high potential leads, and efficient resource allocation. So in the first two bullet points, we see the definition and goal of lead qualification. So lead qualification involves the process of evaluating potential leads to determine their likelihood of becoming clients. So the goal is to distinguish between leads that are more likely to convert into clients and those that may not be as promising. So you only want to spend your time chasing the ones that are more likely to convert. So qualifying leads just helps you to allocate your time and resources better. So that way you don't spend a lot of your time trying to work leads that are never actually going to move forward with you. So now a little more on the importance of identifying high potential leads. So we have time efficiency. Like I just said, not all leads will have the same level of readiness, and we want to target those that are more likely to move forward. Increase conversion rates. So when you spend your time working the warm leads, you'll have a higher conversion rate. Because if you have 100 leads and only 10 of them move forward, that's a 10% conversion rate. But if you figure out a way to only bring in more qualified leads, and now this time you get 20 leads and 10 of them are likely to move forward with you, now you have a 50% conversion rate. So you go from a 10% conversion rate to a 50% conversion rate. And also, since you're not having to work hundreds of cold leads, you get to just focus on the select few that are actually warm. So this way you get to spend more time on them, you could become more personal, and it's easier for you to follow up with them in a timely manner, which also leads to enhanced customer experience, which is the third bullet point. And now we will see why following up in a timely manner is important. So now this also increases conversion rates. The quicker you could follow up with a warm lead, or really any lead in general, the better chance you have of converting that lead into a client. I'm sure you've probably heard that speed to lead is key, and within the first 5 minutes is usually the best time to follow up with that lead. So, say for example, if they submitted a lead form, within 5 minutes of them submitting that lead form, you would want to follow up with them. And that might not always be possible for you to do it yourself, which is why we will cover drip campaigns in a little bit. That's just an automation system to follow up with them immediately. But we'll touch on that a little bit later. And then also competitive advantage. So following up with them in a timely manner also gives you a competitive edge. And if you're in a competitive market where you have to be quick on your feet, then you're really going to want to have that competitive edge and have some type of system to follow up with the leads quickly and consistently. And also, that quick follow up serves as a good first impression. So, if you start off the relationship like that with your potential client, then they'll have confidence that over time, when they're actually working with you, that they won't have to sit around for hours or even days to get a response from you when they're trying to make a move on a house or maybe get rid of their house. They want to know that you're going to be responsive and that the communication between the two of you will be seamless. So, now some tips for following up. So, we have instant response, availability, and utilizing technology. So you want to aim to respond to any inquiry, whether that be through ads or social media. You want to respond to them instantly. Now, you could do that yourself, call them, text them, or email them yourself. Or you could have an automated response, especially for the times where you know you're not going to be available. So maybe after hours, or if you know you're going to be on vacation, or you're going to be at dinner, or just out and about, you still want to have something following up on your behalf. So now that takes us to availability. So you want to make yourself as available as possible, which is why we have this utilizing technology bullet point. So you want to leverage chatbots or instant messaging. So the softwares that I use personally are Go High Level and Zapier. Go High Level is a CRM that pretty much can do anything. You can do SMS drip campaigns, email drip campaigns. I can connect those automations to a form, a survey, really whatever I want. And then Zapier is all about automation. Since it only focuses on automation and it's not a CRM, you can pretty much automate anything that deals with software. Any software out there, whether it be Gmail, Calendly, DocuSign, you could automate it with Zapier. You have to get creative sometimes, but you can really do anything. So I suggest you go look at my module so you can really understand what I'm talking about. But Zapier is extremely powerful. So now, building rapport through timely communication. So as I've mentioned before, quick and consistent communication will serve as a good first impression, and that will build trust with the leads. They will have more confidence that throughout their time working with you, you will be following up with them quickly and just never leaving them in the dark. And then with personalization, since you're only working with a select few warm and qualified leads, this will allow you to put more time into personalizing your communication with them. So you can come up with either emails or messages or discussions based on their preferences and interests. If you have some type of email campaign set up for them, you can take the time to include more data or resources that would be more tailored to them, which would make your content much more valuable to them. And in your communication with them, you want to be transparent about the next steps and what they can expect in the follow up process. So, now here are a few strategies for effective follow up. So, you have email. You can use this for property information, market updates, and other personalized messages. Phone calls are always nice. You could have a lot of automations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you still want to add a human element to it. And one important thing about phone calls is that it's easier to gauge their level of interest. So hearing their voice and their tone will make it easier for you to determine how interested they really are. Then you have social media. You can engage with them through comments, send them content, respond to their comments. And also there's SMS, which isn't on here, but SMS, which are just text messages, they have a really high open rate, a much higher open rate than emails. So that's also going to be something that you want to utilize. There are some new laws in place for automated text messages. I will talk about that in my Go High Level module. So now we have some ways that we can customize our follow up. So you can use surveys to get feedback to really understand how leads prefer to be communicated with. So now when it comes to getting their contact information, you could allow them to choose how they want to be contacted. So the options could be emails, text messages, or phone calls. So when you let them pick their communication method, you'll be more likely to get a response from them because they'll be more comfortable communicating in that way. So now for you, you have to be willing to adapt to that. If they want to speak on the phone, then you have to be comfortable speaking on the phone. If they want text messages or emails, then you have to be comfortable doing that. And now when it comes to sending them valuable resources, you want to know who you're speaking to. So are you speaking to a buyer or are you speaking to a seller? So once you have that information, then you'll know what type of info to send them. And then throughout the process, you're going to want to tailor that content to align with their stage in the real estate process. You always want the content to be relevant to their situation. Now we're going to get into drip campaigns. So drip campaigns utilize SMS and emails, and this involves sending a series of pre written automated emails or messages to leads over a scheduled period of time. So, keyword here or key phrase here is pre written. So, this is something you set up ahead of time. And the goal of this is to just provide valuable content, keep your leads engaged, and nurture them over time. So, you can do this over 3 days, 7 days, a month, 6 months, depending on how warm or cold the lead is. And now, since this is pre-written, you want to have different campaigns. So you want to have something pre-written for sellers, something pre-written for buyers, and then within that buyers category, you want to have a sequence for first-time home buyers, maybe a sequence for investors, things like that, because you don't want the wrong information going to the wrong person. And when you have the information tailored to the right person, you'll be able to nurture them better and get them even warmer over time. And again, this is also a time saver, and you get to control the pace at which the lead moves forward in the process. So now the benefits of drip campaigns, consistent communication. So the way a drip campaign works is that the first message, let's say it's an email, you send out the first email within 5 minutes of them submitting a lead form, for example. Then you could set the wait period. So 24 hours later, they'll get a certain email. Then maybe 3 days later, they'll get another email. And the cool thing about a lot of these drip campaigns is that depending on what they respond with, the platform can usually detect whether it's a positive response or a negative response. But I will say the sooner that you can get in contact with them yourself, instead of the automated messages, the better. Because you don't only want to rely on automated messaging. You want to add that human component as soon as possible. And then obviously the second bullet point, educational content delivery. You get to have the educational content ready to go and you get to structure it exactly how you want it. Structure the data, structure the visuals ahead of time so that when they get it, it already looks nice, it's very appealing, and it's easy for them to digest. And then, like I said, based on the way the lead is interacting with your drip campaign, you'll be able to maneuver it however you want to. maybe have another sequence based on how interested they are and things like that. So now these are some ways that are going to make your drip campaigns more effective. You want to segment your leads based on their preferences, behaviors, or demographics. So preferences, we mentioned communication preferences earlier. If they want text messages, then you're going to want to strictly have an SMS drip campaign. If they want emails, then have an email drip campaign. If they're really open to anything, then you could mix it. And then demographics, what are they? Are they a buyer or a seller, first time home buyer, investor? And then behavior. So maybe the way that they respond to your campaigns, if they're even opening the emails or messages, how interested are they? How are they responding? Then you're going to want to adjust accordingly. If you're following up with a lead daily for 2 weeks and they never respond, then you might want to put them in a re-engagement campaign that lasts 6 months, for example. Then the point of that sequence would just be to get them re-engaged. This also ties into dynamic content. Your content has to be able to adapt to the lead's interactions with your emails or messages. And then again, customization. So all of that is related to customization, customizing a sequence based on cold leads, leads that are not responding, warmer leads, buyers, sellers, or if they're interested in a specific property type. These are all different ways that you can customize your campaign. So now here are some benefits of using a CRM software. And if you don't know what that is, CRM just stands for Customer Relationship Management System. This is just a localized database for storing your leads. So you'll have all of their contact information. Then you could also set up tasks and reminders for yourself to follow up with them. This will keep you on top of everything, on top of where you're at with each lead. And then a lot of CRMs also allow you to automate things. So automate repetitive tasks. So a repetitive task can be greeting the lead immediately after they submit their information. You could use a drip campaign for that, or it doesn't have to be a full campaign. It could just be one message, a one-off message. And even a simple automation like that will go a long way. And in addition to contact information, you could also have their preferences. You can have the engagement history between you and the lead, maybe how they've responded to automations, things like that. You can update lead status, update their information. I know for Go High Level specifically, they have like this funnel dashboard type of thing. I'll just put up a screenshot of it. You can create a sort of pipeline that goes all the way from initial contact to closed deal. And you can really customize it however you want to. But I'm sure a lot of CRMs also have this feature. It just helps you to keep track of where the lead is in the process. And then again, communication history. It could just include all of the emails and messages that you sent to the lead in general, response or not. And this will help you to determine how you should follow up with that lead from here on out. And now with CRMs, it should be pretty easy to integrate whatever you want. So if you want to integrate an email marketing platform, then that's usually pretty easy. Integrate other automation systems, maybe like Zapier. And then also for your website, if you have a lead form on your website, you can just send those form submissions directly to your CRM. But also, your CRM might have the option for you to create a form on it. So once you create the form on the CRM, you can just embed that form onto your website. So whenever somebody fills in the form that way, it'll just automatically be in the CRM. So now, how to actually improve lead quality. Lead forms, now these can be attached to ads. They could also just be on a landing page. Something like Facebook, when running ads, they will have an on-platform lead form. But then, like I just said before, you can create your own lead form, maybe using your CRM, and then just embed it on your website. Those are the two ways to have a lead form, and they ask for name, phone, and email. Now that's like the bare minimum for a lead form. And then you could also add qualifying questions. So these can be added to the lead form in addition to the contact information. So with these, you can ask if the lead is looking to buy or sell, what their time frame is, if they're a first-time home buyer, communication preferences, really anything you could think of. It's better to have these questions as multiple choice rather than open-ended. You could obviously test open-ended, but you want to be careful because that will definitely take a lot more time for the lead to fill out, and that could potentially just scare them away. You want to have some balance. I usually just go with the multiple choice questions, so it's easier for them to answer, but not too easy to the point where I'm just getting garbage leads, which is why I never really recommend the on-platform lead forms when running Facebook ads. That's just getting autofilled with an old number, an old email, and just adding these few questions makes a huge difference. So when someone takes the time to answer those few questions, in addition to giving their name, phone, and email, it demonstrates a higher intent, meaning they're a higher quality lead or a hotter lead. As far as the number of questions, I usually stay at about three. 3 to 4 is good. Like that's the max I would say. When you get over 4, you get to a point of diminishing returns. And then also with the open-ended questions, you can get to a point of diminishing returns. So if you have like 8 questions, for example, and you require detailed responses, there's going to be someone out there that actually fills it out. And odds are they'll be extremely motivated to move forward with you. So in that case, you could have like a 100% conversion rate. But there's so many qualified leads that you missed out on because they just weren't going to take the time to fill out 8 open-ended questions. So you don't want to go too extreme like that. If you have about 3 multiple choice questions, that's enough for you to weed out a lot of the tire kickers and then get a lot more qualified leads, because the people that are truly motivated, they will have no issue at all answering 3 to 4 multiple choice questions. Just make sure that these questions really do qualify them and give you enough information to work with so that you can really deliver them value. So like I said, asking if they're looking to buy or sell, but a nice hack to this that I mentioned in another presentation, maybe one of the ads tutorials, just have separate funnels. Now, this is easier if you're running ads because you could just have different ads leading to different funnels, different pages, or different forums. If you're running ads and you're running a buyer campaign, then you would never have to ask if they're looking to buy or sell. So that way you can skip the buy or sell question. And if they're a buyer, just ask if they're a first time home buyer, things like that. And then if they're looking to sell, you don't have to ask them that because you already know. You just ask them what's their motivation for selling, things like that, and it'll just be easier and it'll be more organized. And then now, landing pages. I touched on this a little bit. I always prefer landing pages over any on platform lead forms because, like with the questions, if someone takes that 1 to 2 seconds to load the landing page, that shows higher intent. And then with this autofill, they're not autofilling the number that they used to create their Facebook account 10 years ago. So a lot of the information that you get will be more up to date, which is what you want. And then another thing about your landing page, it'll be more branded. It'll most likely have your face on it, have some social proof. It'll be more custom to you. So just create your form on your CRM and then embed it onto that landing page. Or if your CRM allows you to create funnels, you won't even need the website. You can just create a landing page specifically for getting leads. So just create that landing page, make it personal to you, have the form on there high up. You don't want to have the form at the very bottom of the page. Yeah, just make it look pretty and add your qualifying questions. So the combination of a landing page plus a lead form with qualifying questions will guarantee that you're only getting qualified leads. Now, your actionable next steps. So if you don't already have a CRM, then get one. I'd recommend Go High Level because that's the one I use and I'd be able to help you personally. But back to the steps. If you're running ads, then I suggest you create a basic lead form and just add qualifying questions to that. Then later on, you can do the landing page. Then create a drip campaign and connect it to your lead form. Whenever somebody submits their information on your form, they automatically get funneled into a campaign. It could be a really basic campaign, just like a one message or one email campaign, just greeting them, acknowledging that you saw that they submitted their information and that you'll be in contact with them shortly. And then over time, you could develop a longer schedule. So it could evolve from that one message campaign to maybe a 3 message campaign that spans over 3 days. Then from the 3 days, it could expand to 7. But just start with that one message campaign. Make sure that that message is getting sent out within 5 minutes. And then over time, you could make a longer campaign. So in short, get a CRM if you don't already have one. If you're running ads, make a lead form. If you're not running ads and you're only doing organic marketing, then the landing page that they go to or the form that they have to fill in has some qualifying questions, preferably multiple choice, and then have a one message drip campaign. So that's pretty much it. Hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next presentation.